The news from Guyana, the region and the world. Compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom and powered by DemeraraWaves.com.
A very good morning to you. With the news at this time, I am Deanna Jordan. The news comes to you with the compliments of Eureka Medical Laboratories. To begin the news, here's a look at the leads. The government and the opposition disagree over the benefits of importing older, reconditioned vehicles and used tires. In regional news, a Venezuelan baby has died after Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard fired at an illegal boat that was ferrying migrants. And internationally, the French president is traveling to Moscow to meet his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. The details of these and other stories will be coming up right here in just a moment.
A COVID-19 PCR test is now mandatory for many routine activities, including travel and return to work purposes. At Eureka, our trained and experienced staff will ensure confidentiality while your test is conducted in a professional and timely manner, which results in just 48 hours. So the next time you require an efficient and hassle-free PCR COVID-19 test, call 624-8378, 608-8378, or 623-7233 to schedule your appointment. You can also ask about our house call testing service.
And now the news in detail. The government and the opposition are at odds over whether it is wise to import older, reconditioned vehicles and used tires. Since returning to office in August 2020, the People's Progressive Party Civic (PPPC) has scrapped the ban on used tires and removed the 8-year age limit on used and reconditioned vehicles. Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gail Teixeira says these measures have since allowed more Guyanese to once again own their own vehicles.
Minister of Finance and this government restored the taxes of the 2006-2008. Let us look at what's happened. PAB series was finished in 7 months. Wow. Following. Wow. 7 months! That 9,999 cars were sold in 7 months, bought in 7,000. By the removal of the APNU stranglehold by tax on people. And now we're starting PAC in 7 months. If that is not an indicator, social and economic indicator of this breathing of freedom to do things, that you held us down like if you're suffocating the people in this country all in 5 years.
While in government, the Coalition of a Partnership for National Unity plus Alliance for Change, APNU plus AFC, had restricted the importation of used and or reconditioned vehicles over 8 years old from the date of manufacture to the date of importation. The then administration had justified this on the grounds of road safety and reducing carbon emission. Former opposition leader Joseph Harmon still believes that these are better policies.
When we were in office, that was the 8th year in AFC, we placed restrictions on the importation of used tires and aged vehicles in order to protect our environment and to save lives. We implemented measures for the easy importation of electric vehicles and setting up of charging stations. Our administration was forward thinking. Mr. Speaker, it appeared as though we were too forward thinking for the PPP, who decided to reverse our tires and vehicle policy. And now in Budget 2022, they are offering tax measures to benefit the importation of vehicles for industrial and commercial purposes.
Former leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon. There will be no Mashramani costume and float parade again this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramson.
We're still in the pandemic, and that's one of the reasons why we don't have the regular Mashramani. It would be irresponsible for us as a government to put on the regular mash routine that we did prior to the pandemic, which was in 2020, the last time when we had any kind of major Mashramani activities.
However, the Culture, Youth and Sport Minister says song competitions will be held for Mashramani.
The main preparation at the moment is for the song competitions. That's the only thing that we can do en masse in a safe way. We can still do that. It will still give the young people who are involved in, and the artists who are involved in our cultural events, the opportunity to advance be motivated to advance their craft, their art form.
Mr. Ramson says he will be meeting with costume makers to explore ways of having some costume activities for Mashramani 2022. An 89-year-old woman from Region 4 is Guyana's latest recorded COVID victim. The Ministry of Health says that the death toll from the virus now totals 1,181 persons. At the moment, the number of active cases is 5,659. Of that number, 15 are receiving intensive care, 5,540 others are isolated at home to avoid spreading the virus, and 119 are hospitalized. A 23-year-old man died on the Laluni Access Road, Linden-Soesdijk Highway, after the motorcycle he was riding went into a pothole. Police say that at about 10 hours 30 Saturday night, Dave Taylor of Laluni Creek was riding a motorcycle along with pillion rider Vishal Bahadur. So far, investigators were informed that Taylor lost control of the speeding motorcycle when he struck a pothole with water. Taylor and Bahadur were taken to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where Taylor was pronounced dead on arrival. Mr. Bahadur was seen and examined and referred to the Georgetown Hospital, where he was treated and admitted a patient for observation. And now in regional news. A baby died in her mother's arms after the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard fired on a boat carrying migrants from Venezuela. The Caribbean nation's Coast Guard says its ship TTS Scarborough attempted to intercept a boat that illegally entered the country's territorial waters from Venezuela on Saturday, a little before midnight. The ship hailed the other vessel to make it stop and fired warning shots when it did not, but that also proved futile. According to the Coast Guard, the unknown vessel continued with aggressive maneuvers, first coming into contact with the ship's boat and then making attempts to ram it. The statement said that Coast Guard personnel feared for their lives and fired on the engines of the boat to shut them down. In the end, a woman was bleeding and her baby was taken to hospital, where it was pronounced dead. Human rights activist Orlando Moreno says the boat carrying the migrants had departed Saturday night from the eastern Venezuelan state of Delta Amacuro, where an estimated 6 to 10 boats carrying migrants leave daily. Prime Minister Gaston Brown has told the opposition United Progressive Party that his son's wealth is not his own. Antigua Newsroom reports that Mr. Brown says the opposition is constantly making his success as a businessman an issue on the political campaign. He says that several years ago he had purchased 4 acres of land while he had been in opposition, constructed a mall and transferred the property to his son. Part of the building is being rented to the government. However, the Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister says nothing is wrong with his son earning government money from the property. It is being